I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2I TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week. Like T2I TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2I TV, we engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.
Thanks, Belapia. I think there was no sound. Yeah, thanks very much for that. Yes, welcome to another powerful session of the Step Out with Oscar Bimbo. And tonight I have a man that I've known for so many years, and I will come and introduce him. But before we go on that, if you are watching us for the first time, this is the Step Out with Oscar Bimpo show live on T2I TV UK. And tonight, this program is where we interview consultants, experts, talented people, people doing exceptional work in their communities, to come and give us informed knowledge that is going to help us in pursuit of any vision that we have. And tonight is going to be an amazing discussion. Please, if you are watching us, I want you to share this program for somebody to have an opportunity to watch this, and also like our page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, before I go on to my guest, I'm going to talk about some few sponsors. Now, this program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. That is your business training and consulting firm. Train to Inspire also works with colleges, universities, and second cycle institutions to work on the personal development of students. Also, ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. ALS says if you are stranded at the port, call them and they will sort you out. Also, ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. They just launched their ZPay mobile money USSD code, which is *270#. Just dial it on your phone and register for ZPay mobile money. Then Wheels for Sure, your car leasing for every credit. Wheels for Sure says that it doesn't matter your credit history. Just talk to them and you can walk out of the garage with a car of your choice. When you call Wheels for Sure, please quote T2I 2020 and you get a very good deal. Now, if you want to contact any of our sponsors, their telephone, their contact details are scrolling on the screen. You can take them and contact them. Also, if you want to sponsor any of our shows, you are more than happy to do so. Now, who is on the hot seat today? As I said, I've known this man for many years, and this is not his first time on the show. He's been on my radio show about 2-3 years ago, and tonight he's on the T2Y TV platform. And tonight we have got a powerful topic to discuss. So who is this man I'm talking about? He's an author, he's a life coach, architect, and a designer. Please welcome to Step Out with Oscar Bimpo, and you are live on T2I TV UK.
Thank you, Oscar. Always a pleasure being with you on a platform like this. You are doing an amazing job, and it's always a pleasure for me to share a few thoughts to our cherished audience. I believe that tonight they'll be blessed as we go through the topic that we have on board. It's certainly
Yes.
to be here.
Yes. So I think I've got Bella Pia saying no sound. I hope the sound is okay now. And then Ata, you are welcome to stay on the line. Don't change the dial on us. Yes. Now, our topic for discussion. Thank you very much for your kind words. I'm hardly do I get kind words from people. So when I get one, I really appreciate it. Now, our topic for discussion, the 4 popular habits that make life difficult. But before we go on our topic, I want to really ask, who is David Edry in your own words?
Wow. Well, David Egyir just loves helping people. So I do it in design, architecture, I do it in other areas. But most importantly, helping people to appreciate what life is about in its truest sense, because there's more to life than meets the eye. So I'm happy when I have an opportunity to share such insights that I discovered quite by accident. If you want me to say a bit about that, it was after university.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I just before I got married, I relocated to a place where I joined the church in the location, and along the line got elected to lead the youth fellowship in the church. So I thought to myself for the first time that what is leadership all about? Scientifically, practically. I had never taken a leadership book throughout my 7 years at university. So for the first time, I decided to look for leadership book so that I could learn and then lead such a heterogeneous group I was called upon to lead. We had people who had not been to school extensively, people who are serving as house helps, right to people who have finished their masters and so on. How do you lead such a vast background of people? So I went to my favorite bookshop, got some leadership book. Another book caught my attention. I grabbed them and I started reading. Man, when I started reading, I realized that I had missed so much compared to the 7 years in school. There were these equally very important stuff about leadership, about time management, about all the other things that really are what are required to be able to live efficiently or to live a fruitful life. So I began to research, compare them, and then began to teach others to get to know about them. So that's what has brought me to your very esteemed platform tonight, Oscar.
But you see, it looks like the things that we need to survive after school, they don't teach us, isn't it?
At all. In fact, during those extensive reading times, one of the shocking facts I chanced upon was about the research that Harvard University had done. And per that research, all the knowledge we get from the four walls of the school, even if you become a professor, you become a PhD and go on to become a professor, all that knowledge you acquire is able to harness just up to 22% of your effectiveness and fulfillment in life. The remaining ones, you will find it in the classroom. And it's all because of the way school has been structured. Basically, school was designed to churn out factory hands, if I should put it simply. I mean, you learn a certain set of skills that you are required to repeatedly carry out in an organization, be it a proper factory location or an office, wherever. It's just a skill set you acquire and you are required to repeat it until you are promoted to the next level, and you repeat and you are promoted to the next level. So basically, that's what school trains us for. But the real life, how to deal with people, how to manage your time, how to manage your emotions, and so on, they don't teach them. But we need those ones, the 78%. We have to find them outside of the classroom ordinarily. So that is some of the things that encourage us or people like us to really push to make some of these findings public so that others who are so minded will also get to know and then apply to improve upon their lot. So very, very
Wow.
true. Who does not teach them?
So let's go back to our topic. We digressed a bit, but that is okay. Now our topic is the 4 popular habits that make life difficult. Now let's start from the basics. What are habits?
Well, habits are repetitive actions that we carry out, often unconsciously or subconsciously. Okay, there are things you do, there are attitudes you display, and so on. These have become part of your fabric. So you do them without thinking. Okay, so these are in a very practical way what habits are. How do we acquire habits? You know, none of us decided to come into this world ordinarily. You didn't decide to come into this. I didn't decide to come. We woke up one day to realize that we're in this world and we're living among a people. So immediately the family, and the family takes you to church or other religious places. Then they take you to school. Then you begin to gain consciousness about your environment. You hear things on radio, you see things on the TV, and so on. You go out, people interact. As all these things are happening, you are acquiring training consciously and subconsciously. And all these combinations effectively determine your habit. And it's ingrained in the culture in which one finds himself or herself. So we have what we call the 7 pillars of culture. We have the family, we have the religious organization, we have the school, we have the entertainment industry, we have government, we have business. All these people in all these spheres influence what we become. And so we develop these habits over a period, and sometimes we do them without even knowing that that's what we are doing. We do them without thinking. So that's in a very practical or down to earth way what habits are and how we acquire them. Now, this is very important because to influence us and when we want to help ourselves out of some of the habits that make life difficult.
Oh, so does it mean that all the 7 pillars of culture that you mentioned, it looks like they become part of us that sometimes we find it so difficult to separate from it, right?
Yes, and that is what the first habit seems to draw our attention to. So if I can go on.
So what is the first habit?
So the first habit is the processor caterpillar syndrome. Now, we are saying that there are 4 habits that make life difficult. So even before I go into the details of the first habit, let me talk a bit about some of the difficulties we are talking about that people need to know. Because these are prevalent. And the first one has to do with the fact that most people are not truly fulfilled in life. Okay. When I say people are not truly fulfilled, I need to talk a little bit more about it. It's not about happiness per se, because you can be a bubbly, you can be exciting, you can be wealthy, you can be highly religious, you can be highly educated, and still not live a truly fulfilling life. And I'll give some statistics to just highlight some of these things. Now, it's been established that of all the people that go to work every day, only 18 out of every 100 people feel good about going to work. So, Oscar, even though in the mornings, in the afternoon, in the evening, people are rushing to work, if you call 100 of them at random and you ask about their work life, they will tell you bizarre experiences. A lot of people wish they didn't have to go to work. And if you are going to work and you wish you didn't have to go, how productive can you be? How fulfilling can it be? So as a result, there's a lot of stress on people to the extent that it's been established that most of the diseases people report to the hospitals with are not pathogenic. In other words, they are not the result of disease-causing organisms, but because of the product of unfulfillment, mostly which manifests in the form of stress. Okay. Now, there are other ones I can talk about. For instance, there's high levels of economic hazards in the system. It's been established that for every 100 businesses that start, after 5 years, 80 of them collapse globally. So it may vary from region to or country to country, but globally, on the average, 80 businesses fail within their first 5 years. Now, of the 20% that survive, 80% out of that will still fail within the next 4 years. That means after 9 years, only 4% of the total population of business that started survive. And even that, of the 4, only 1 makes significant profit. The remaining 3 just hang in there. So you can imagine the extent of issues that this can bring. So if we talk about underemployment, this is one of the causes. We talk about job losses. It's all because of and people are going through a lot of problems all because of some of these things. There are a few others I may want to talk about just for the want of time as we go along. So with your permission, move into the first habit, which is the processional caterpillar syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
What is the processional caterpillar syndrome? Now, when we say caterpillar here, we are referring to the larval stage of the butterfly. So the organism or the creature that develops into the butterfly, the larva stage, the initial stage. That's what we are referring to. Okay. And it's a particular kind of caterpillar that are called processional caterpillars because they have the habit of dutifully following each other. No matter where the first one is going, all the rest will follow. Now, it's interesting. A researcher picked some of these caterpillars and arranged them in a circle. And for 24 hours, they went round, round, round. So he picked them and placed them on a saucer, arranged them on the edge of a saucer, and put their favorite meal, pine needles, in the center of the saucer. And for 6 days, these caterpillars were moving round, 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 then one would die. Then they would go, then another would die. So they were going round, 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 and they were dying from exhaustion. Note, just 2 inches away from their circle that they were going, there was choice food, their favorite food, just 2 inches away. But they were preoccupied with following each other, irrespective of where the first one was going. That even though they were dying from starvation, exhaustion, none of them thought of going to take the food. Now, as funny as this sounds, that is how we humans behave a lot of the times. And it goes back to the point we were talking about how we acquire habits. So we come to meet our parents who take us to church, who take us to school, and we live in a society, the 7 pillars of cultures. All that we are seeing going on, we don't question, we just follow. So this goes on, yes. So until some Oscar Bimpon comes to draw your attention or some David Egyir comes to draw attention, this goes on unconsciously. So it's a habit we form that is hurting us in so many ways. And I'll give examples of them just to make it more practical. Take our education, for instance. Take our education, for instance. Remember the statistic I just gave?
Yes.
That all the education we get in the classroom is able to harness just about 22% of our effectiveness and greatness in life. Now, this has been published. It is known. And over the years, a lot of people have complained about our educational structure. But what has happened? The US, there are people who are complaining about the educational structure. People like Geoffrey Canada, people like the UK, there's Professor Sir Robinson. There are a whole lot of other people. In Ghana, we have people like Hani Safar and so on. We are all talking about educational system, how that is not helping, and that there are things that we should be doing instead of what we are doing. But yet, there's not been any serious reform. So we'll do everything but move forward just because of this processional caterpillar behavior. Another issue, unemployment. There are people who are going to school, to the university, and they know very well that job placement is a problem. Yet, they are not making any effort because the predecessors, they didn't see the predecessors making effort in that direction. So even though they may hear that learn things outside of the classroom, attend seminars, be entrepreneurial, change your mindset revolution, you'll be talking about it. But they'll hear it, but it won't move them because they are preoccupied in following what the predecessors have done, which is none of these things we are talking about.
Like the caterpillar, yeah?
Yeah, just see, so we will go round, 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 and come and face the same problems. So that is the first habit I want us to.
Why is it that people are not able to break the chain?
I'll come there, but let me give another example.
Okay.
Till date, people decide to go to school, finish school, and come and work. And even though, from what I've said, they know that they may not necessarily come and get a job, they are still okay. Okay, now, why is it that we have continued to do this and hurt ourselves and not stopping? Now, when I go into the other habits, you see how they come to play. And that leads me comfortably into the second habit, which answers the question you just asked. And that is the pleasure pain trap, based on the pleasure pain principle. It's a trap, just like the first one. But this one is a serious trap. That's why I'm actually qualifying it as a trap. Now, there's a principle called the pleasure pain principle, which says that man is in constant motion towards anything that will give him pleasure or that promises to give him pleasure. So, man is in constant motion towards anything that gives him pleasure or promises to give him pleasure, and away from anything that gives him pain or promises to give him pain. This is a natural law. So naturally, that's your makeup. You defer to pleasure than otherwise. So I'll give an example. I'm a religious person, so let me give a very religious example and hope that I don't fall into trouble. I'll use Christianity as an example. The Christian Bible has several verses that talk about the need to work hard.
Yes.
So many of them that talk about the need to work hard and the fact that if you don't work hard, you will be poor. So many scriptures. Okay, I don't want to turn it into a religious session.
I understand. You go on.
I won't quote the scriptures, yes, but there are several of them. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if I come to you or a minister, irrespective, comes to a religious organization, a congregation, and says that, my brothers, my sisters, pray, make sure you pay your tithe, make sure you give fat offering, and that God will open heavens and pour abundant blessing upon your laps. Okay. And then another time, another minister or the same minister come and says that, guys, it's not about just doing spiritual gymnastics. You need to work hard, for the Bible says that a diligent hand makes rich, and that the hand of the slothful becomes poor, and so on and so forth. Now, of the two, which one do you think people will shout amen to the most?
The miracle one.
Exactly. All because we naturally defer to what gives us pleasure rather than what gives us pain. Even though we know very well that it doesn't work like that. But because it sounds nice to us, we will defer towards that.
Wow.
Yes. So if I should combine the first two, one of the famous professors of education is called Sir William Arthur Lewis. He says that education and schooling are not the same thing. What goes inside the schools is often not education, and the results may well be that it reduces productive capacity rather than to increase it. If I juxtapose that to the second habit, the pleasure principle, there's a favorite quote attributed to Albert Einstein, but the person who should be credited for is actually one Rita Mae Brown. And he says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results.
Yes.
So we are drawing attention to these habits so that people will then be mindful about what is happening around them and in them so that they can make the necessary amends. So that's about the second habit.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. I don't know if I should move to the
Yeah, move to the third one.
Okay. Now, the third habit we call unconscious incompetence trap. The trap of unconscious incompetence. I'll explain it this way. We are learning creatures. Okay. So when I was explaining how we acquire habits, and when you are born, you are more or less a formatted hard drive. You have a basic operating system that will get you boot up, but everything else. So you come with certain instincts in life, like the instinct to cry, the instinct to crawl, the instinct to cough, and so on. These are the basic programs you can, the ability to hear. These are the basic programs you can. But much of what we're able to do in life is through habit acquisition, and it goes through a process. Okay. Now, so every skill that you acquire, you develop that skill over a process. The first stage of it is what we call unconscious incompetence, not knowing what you don't know and being oblivious but feeling okay. I'll give an example. A lot of people don't know about emotional intelligence. Okay? They don't know that they don't know about emotional intelligence. They don't know that they need emotional intelligence. They don't know that it's one of the highest ranked skills or competencies required to succeed in the work environment. So they are okay. They are comfortable. They are going about their lives. They are leading groups by messing the group up, making people feel unhappy in organization, making people feel unhappy coming to work. But they don't know and they are okay because they are functioning at the level of unconscious incompetence. They don't know what they don't know, so they don't care.
But that can be very dangerous, isn't it?
That is why we are talking about it. Now, so for instance, if a person doesn't know that he needs emotional intelligence to be able to be a high performer, and then you meet him, probably he attends a seminar or the person is listening to some of the people listening to, I get to know that emotional intelligence is so critical. And even the World Economic Forum in 2016 also ranked it as one of the key top 10 skills one or qualities one needs to survive and excel in the work environment. It's so critical, even though schools don't teach. Okay, so people get to know that they need to acquire emotional intelligence. They have moved from unconscious incompetence when they didn't know that they needed it. So they've moved from that point to now conscious incompetence. So now you know that you need emotional intelligence, but you don't know how to be emotionally intelligent. So you are now going to acquire it. So at least you are better off than the person who is still at the unconscious incompetence level. So you move from unconscious
Sorry to cut you short, but there are a lot of leaders, especially in Ghana, Africa, that they are at the first stage. It's like they don't know, they don't know anything about it, and they are so comfortable. They are abusing people at the way. Yeah. So how can people get to know about these things? That is also a big challenge, isn't it?
It is, but it is not. Because, Oscar, you and I have spent time. We would have used this time to do other things.
Of course.
And we are talking about it. So people are hearing. So at least they are moving from unconscious incompetence to conscious competence. They can then do something about it because the information abounds. 2021, I mean, at the tap of your finger, you can get all the information, but you don't know that you need it, let alone look for it. So it's really, really not the problem. It's how to move people from unconscious incompetence to conscious competence. And that means we must not stop what we are doing. We must carry on. Because of that, there's serious leadership crisis in most organizations. Indeed, in every organization we have bosses and we have subordinates.
Mhm.
Because of especially unconscious incompetence in leadership, most of the people do not know the organization's top goals and priorities. They don't know the department they belong to, the top goals and the priorities of the department. Majority of them. Now, even those who know the top goals and priorities of the organizations, only 4 out of 100 are passionate about the top goals and priorities of the organizations or their departments. Okay. Now, even of these who know the top goals and priorities, that only 4 are passionate. I think it's our 15% who know the top goals and priorities. And out of the 15%, only 4 are passionate. Now, the 15% who know the top goals and priorities, they spend 51%, or let me reverse it. They spend 49% of their working time on things that do not fall on the top goals and priorities. 51% of their time is spent on the non-essential. So that means that in most organizations, what they accomplish within a year, given a consciously competent leader, they can achieve that in 3 months. In so doing, the companies are going to generate higher returns. Workers, staff are going to enjoy themselves in the organization, working for the organization, working for their superiors, and working amongst themselves. They will love it. There'll be less stress. It means that people will spend less time taking medications, which will make their immune system even more stronger because the side effects of medication will not be there. The advantages are so many. That is why every 100 businesses, 80% collapse within their first five years. And of the remaining, 80% still collapse after 4 years. So you need conscious competence in emotional intelligence, which is a critical aspect of leadership. As a matter of fact, we have 2 states of leadership. We have the de facto leadership and then we have the recognized leadership. Everybody is a leader, whether you are given a title or not. We must know it. So those who don't know that they are leaders, it means they are also exhibiting signs of unconscious incompetence because they don't know that they are leaders, let alone develop their leadership skills. Okay, so let's deal with those who know they are leaders. They are given leadership titles: CEO, MD, secretary, teacher. Once you have people who you are subject to you are a leader in the recognized sense. Okay. Now you must develop your leadership along 5 stages. We have what we call the stage 1. At stage 1, people follow you because they have to, not because they want to. Yes. So we call it the position stage. They accord you the necessary courtesies by virtue of your position. Now, if you remain there, you are doomed because your people will not perform. Okay. Now you must move from position level to permission level. Now, based on how you handle your group, the people under you, they now begin to follow you, or in other words, obey your leadings, respond to you because they want to, not because they have to. So at that stage, productivity increases, and there are subsequent stages. I can just mention them for the want of time without going into the details. So from position, you move to permission, then you go to production, then you go to reproduction stage, and then the final stage is personhood. maybe another time, or when we have time, we can go into those areas. But on this same issue of leadership, which is so critical, generally people know about 3 leadership styles. Most seminars, they will teach you about 3 leadership styles, either democratic, autocratic, or the laissez-faire kind of leadership. Now, none of this is true leadership. If you practice democratic leadership, it's as if you are a half leader and not a full leader. If you practice autocratic leadership, it's as if you're a half leader and not a full leader. As well as a fair, we shouldn't even count you among leadership. Okay. Now the reason is autocratic leaders often are applauded because they're able to drive their people and get results. What happens is that they show results, the organization seems to win, but the people lose. So people leave the organization one after the other. And some of them, they even have left the organization mentally, but they're only there physically just to withdraw salary. Okay. How can they be productive? So they cannot be productive because you are exhibiting autocratic leadership style. Democratic, the organization will suffer. Democratic leadership, the people will be happy around you as a leader, but the organization cannot achieve much. So true leadership requires other principles to be able to move from position to permission to production to reproduction to person.
So in your own like view, what kind of leadership is portrayed in Africa, in your own estimation, averagely?
We talk of democratic leadership that is not working efficiently. In Africa, the democratic leadership prevails more than autocratic leadership. Okay. But like I said, none of the two is good enough.
So what kind of leadership is good for Africa?
True leadership. And true
what is
leadership requires that you should be able to, with little effort, motivate or spur or harness the potential of your people with little effort on your part, so that the people perform at their highest levels of deepest internal conviction when they are performing based on their own visions that override the vision of the company.
Then I don't think we have got that. I don't think we've got
to the extent that the people feel happy working with you, the leader, or for you, the leader. They feel happy working for the organization, and they feel happy working with their colleagues because there's high levels of emotional intelligence. And Oscar, to be honest with you, it is lacking, all because of the previous habit of what? Previous habit, processional caterpillar, which is influenced by pleasure pain principle, producing unconscious incompetence. Now, before I even move, I must highlight that or emphasize that these habits, they intertwine, they overlap, in the sense that at any point in time, all the 4 habits are at play, except that they are at play to different extents or different levels, and each reinforces the others. So unconscious incompetence will reinforce processional caterpillar, will reinforce the pleasure pain principle. Processional caterpillar will reinforce pleasure pain principle, will reinforce unconscious incompetence, and so on. So they reinforce one another, and they are almost always present, even though one may be stronger than the other. But they are deadly. The bane of Africa. If we're able to understand these principles and then move ourselves from unconscious incompetence and begin to now get competence in these things, we'll go a long way. We'll such a long way. I don't know if I can.
So how do we set the pace?
I shouldn't. You don't want me to talk about the last one?
The last one. Okay, talk about the last one then,
So
because we're getting close to the time.
Great.
Yeah, briefly on the last one.
Okay, so the last one is called false faith. False faith. Now, there are people who are practicing what they are calling faith, but not faith at all, but rather false faith. I'll give a typical example. There was a day I was driving to a site, and then my dad was on a popular radio station, and one of the big men of God in the country came on air and was preaching. So I was listening. Along the line, he said that in this world, there are 3 solutions to every problem. 3 solutions to every problem. The first one is prayer. Then he said that the second one is also prayer. Oscar, you know where I'm going with the third one.
Mm-hmm.
And that the third one is also prayer. Now, so if such a person or people who hear such an admonition buy into it, and they'll buy into it because the passion, the conviction with which these people speak, yes, they are following. And because of the pleasure pain principle, people easily buy into such messages. Oscar, we say that thinking is the hardest work there is. That is why only a few engage in it. Much of the problems we face in life require creative thinking. A lot of that is the hardest work there is. So most people would rather not think. So if you tell them that they have the option of praying, pleasure pain principle, hooray! So it's easier to pray round the clock than to ask me to think round the clock. So even though I know, people know that it is not working for them the way it's being presented. But recently, I think a lecturer, the head of department of psychology at University of Ghana, if my memory serves me right, based on a study they did, said that there are people who contemplate suicide, especially religious people, and for most of them, they think that God has disappointed them. And Oscar, the number of people who contemplate suicide on a daily basis, you have no idea. Very alarming statistics. Christians, pastors, and so on. In fact, was it 2019, on a particular day, the head of psychology and someone who was in an university in Pennsylvania or so, the head of psychology and leader of mental health, who had even written a book and had even given a talk on TED platform. You know about TED platform, one of the biggest seminar platforms in the whole world. So he was a TED conference speaker on cultivating resilience. He committed suicide. On that same day, one of the renowned pastors who had written a book titled Love is Oxygen, how God can give you life and something, he also committed suicide that same day that this head of psychology man committed suicide. Why? People are going through difficulties, but everybody seems to be smiling.
Yes.
The 4 habits are causing lots of difficulties for people, but they are not talking about it because that's another process that Catapillar approach. Everybody seems happy. People are faking happiness. So, let's carry along. But these are the habits that are hurting us. In fact, there's a lot I could be sharing on the false faith. But I think because of time, I'll leave it here and probably go back to the question you were asking.
Yes. So our time is fast spent. We have got about 7 minutes to the top of the hour. What is the way forward?
The way forward is one, what you and I are doing. We shouldn't stop. We should create the awareness. We should create the awareness. In fact, I had an interview with Obendako, and I was expressing the opinion that a lot of the youth are not serious. So why should we bother? Why don't we just focus on those who are serious and carry along with them? And he disagreed with me vehemently. He thinks that whether they are serious or they are not serious, we must take the bull by the horn and do everything we can to draw their attention to the harm that they are doing to themselves. So I'm saying that be encouraged. Don't stop. Move. What you are doing is so critical. What I'm doing is also so critical. Why would I leave design? Why would I leave buildings? Why would I not give all my attention to where I can make more money? You understand? But be doing this. It's all because if we don't do it, we will have failed our continent, Africa. There are people who are predicting that Africa is the next frontier. The next big thing is going to happen in Africa. Why shouldn't our people be the drivers of the big thing that is going to happen in Africa? Africa is the richest continent in the world in terms of natural resources. Why should we be seen as a poor continent? No way. And it's all because we are living in unconscious incompetence, and people are not, when you go out, this is not the kind of messages you'll be hearing. You'll be hearing more of bless you, God will do it for you, that kind of thing. It's
a miracle life. The miracle life.
Breakthrough without sweat. These days, people have stopped this is your year and that kind of because of coronavirus. But the predominant message in the system is that depend on God. God will do everything for you. To the extent that our national anthem says that God bless our homeland Ghana. God cannot bless our homeland Ghana. It's a wrong thing to put in a national anthem. God has already blessed our homeland Ghana by giving us all the resources we need. All we need to do is to use this, to harness those resources, to be able to learn how to negotiate better and not give away our resources for cheap to foreigners who even will just come and exploit it, and sometimes don't even know how much they are taking away and all that. So that is it. We must make the effort to let people know about these things and then teach them. As for the principles, they are there. I've written extensively about them. If the person does not know that he needs it, give him all the books you've written. He will still not make use. And even if they'll read it once. But trust me, Oscar, when you read something once, you get almost nothing from it compared to what you'll be getting if you had read it 7 times and beyond. So this presentation, this discussion we've had, those who are listening to us, if they think that they've gotten everything over this period, they are deceiving themselves. They must re-listen to it. They must listen to it again up to about 7 times before they can really say that they got the message we put out this evening. So people, we must go on creating this awareness and probably take steps to get the educational system to inculcate it or make it part of the regular curriculum. I'll share an interesting issue with you. I did a presentation somewhere in Europe. Let me mention it, Denmark, the happiest country in the world. Now, when I finished the presentation, I had just done the introduction to my series. There's a couple in the congregation who offered to represent me and introduce what I was teaching to their Ministry of Education. This is a highly developed country. And these are people who are thinking of getting this information and even make it part of their educational curriculum. How much more us?
No, for us, they don't even want to know because it's coming from their own people. They prefer to give it to a foreigner than to give it to you. That is the problem we have.
Oscar, it's a problem. but we have to surmount it. So you and I, we have to understand persuasion more. Okay, if we have to delve more into the science and art of persuasion, the science and art of writing winning proposals, the science and art of impactful delivery, and so on. How to do follow-ups, how not to give up. There are people you may probably have to call 100 times. We must be prepared to do it. You get the point? So the problem is just a feedback as to the barrier we need to surmount, so that we can know the amount of preparation we need in order to surmount that barrier. We should never give up. We should never give up. We must carry on. Sometimes our resources will be stretched. We must carry on. We must. In fact, one of the people I was calling mentors or a resource team to oversee some of my ideas. One of them told me that this thing I'm doing, it can happen that one day I may not even get money to buy fuel. But I shouldn't give up. You know, it hasn't gotten there. But, you know, there are people who are expecting that if we have taken on this challenge, they're expecting that we will not give up. We should push. And sometimes help will come from sources that you least expect. I have had people I never knew from Adam calling me. They have seen some of my things online. How can they be part? There are people who call me. How can they invest to get this thing promoted and so on? Okay. So we shouldn't give up. You know, we shouldn't give up. We must continue to push until it becomes the order of the day.
For that, I agree with you, because I remember last year. So last year when I was in Ghana, and this TV station, I've been speaking to them my whole time in Ghana. I've been in Ghana 8 months, and I've been speaking to them. And a day before I was leaving Ghana, that's the day before they agreed, and I had to do about 10 videos. They came to my office. I did 10 videos for them, short motivational messages, and they just played it on TV station. And this is one of the biggest TV stations in Ghana. Now, I'm talking to buttress what we are saying, that we shouldn't give up. Sometimes
we should encourage more people to join.
Sometimes if you look at their attitude, you will give up so easily. But as you are saying, we should have that spirit of persuasion and that spirit of trying to push and push and push until they really accept the angle. And I think we are coming from a different angle that they are not aware of. So it's taking them time to accept what we are bringing on the table. And I think that is the biggest challenge now. And that is where we have to really continue to preach what we are preaching. Because trust me, this miracle lifestyle is killing us. That somebody, we are not saying don't go for anointing oil, but when you get the anointing oil, go out and go and work. You see?
But Oscar,
that is what it makes.
Pleasure paid principle. You say the anointing will do
pleasure.
the rest. Why should he go and work? You get the deal. But you see,
it's quite interesting.
Yes. You say he should work hard, pay. A big man of God with big titles, Reverend, Doctor, Professor, you know, with long titles, says that all he needs is this anointing oil. He should just pour a little on his words. Which one should he take? But the interesting thing is that on the average, a person must hear something 7 times before he gives a critical thought to it. So if you and I, we say something once, we shouldn't think that they've heard us until we've said it 7 times. Then they'll begin to give a thought to it. So our work is not easy, but do not give up.
I remember I was telling somebody when I started this business, when I post something on Facebook, about 3,000 friends, and nobody likes it the whole day. So I would just sit down and say, why? Didn't that make sense? So these 3,000 people, they didn't see what I wrote. What I was asking myself questions, right? But as you were saying, it's earlier days, they are trying to look what you are trying to portray. Then as they continue to see it and they see that you are making sense, that is when they start getting involved, you know? So it takes time, it takes persistence, it takes that passion and drive, it takes that consistency for people, for you to break that boundary that is in the minds of people when it comes to judging in terms of your capability. So I think, where can people get your book?
Amazon. They can search for my name, or the simplest of my books is this one, Purpose Compass. Purpose Compass is available on Amazon. So they can, but if they want all my books, they can go to my website, csapp.com. csapp.com. SEERSAPP.com. csapp.com. They can get all my books. There are 17 plus books on my website. Yes.
Wow.
But I always recommend this because this is the intro. This introduces the entire collection. It's a series. So this book introduced the entire series. And indeed, this has all the 4 habits I just shared, plus a lot more. And indeed, some of the habits, I didn't exhaust them. There are a lot more I could be sharing on those habits for people to really, really, really appreciate how harmful those habits are. When they get copies of the Purpose Compass, they will be blessed. All the 4 habits and all the rest of the details, plus a whole lot more, are found on Amazon. Yes, or CSR.
Wow. It's been wonderful having you. I've got some few comments here. Danny Atta says, welcome. Bella Pia says, perfect sound now. Sandra will give us a thumbs up. Bishop Bernard O. Entry says, good evening, says, very inspiring and very profound. Keep it up, says. And he also says, until our messages on the pulpit changes, Africa will never progress. We are breeding religious-minded people instead of kingdom-minded people. That's a very powerful one. So he is a pastor, and he's advocating that until the message on the pulpit changes, Africa will never progress. And I think that is a very solid. Yes. And I think we need more of him, because a lot of pastors probably here would have disagree with us because of what? Because of the unconscious, right?
Yes. But Oscar, interestingly, let me give this example. One of the days I was on air talking about what the church refuses to teach about Christianity. It's an article I have on my website, csapp.com. It's one of the most engaging articles I've written. There was a day, almost 4,000 people had read it just in a day. I was on air to talk about it. They were interviewing me about it and all that. In fact, some of the things I said, ordinarily, a pastor may pick an offense. But surprisingly, a lot of them did not. In fact, one bishop who had 100 ministers under him that he was training actually invited me to speak to them. So even though some of the things may be hard-hitting, they themselves are very much aware. Some of them are trapped in the sense that, how is it that over the years I have preached this soothing message? You know, when people come, some of the pastors feel that these people are burdened. Let's encourage them. And the way to encourage them, to tell them, God is in control. He will do it for you, just as he did for Mr. A. He will do it for you. It's a matter of time. When you pray and you don't see the answer, don't give up. God is saying, wait. You know, just so that the people will be comfortable, will be at ease. Indeed, if it weren't for those messages, the levels of suicides in Africa would have been alarming. So they are, because clinical counseling and those things, we don't have things here So people need pastors to feel sane. But after they've gained their sanity, I wish pastors would create the forum, even if they themselves are not emphasizing that. Proverbs says that a diligent hand makes rich. He who has a slack hand becomes poor. They will not quote it. He who has a slack hand will be put to false labor. They will not quote it, but they are all in the Bible. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the arms. So shall your poverty come like a prowler and like an armed man.
I think we need to find time and come and talk about this topic. It is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
What are not saying on the pulpit?
What this is to teach about Christianity. So he invited to go and speak to the group, and I was excited. Say, wow, this is a very elderly bishop with pastors under him, and he wanted to hear that side of the message. So we shouldn't give up. We should go on, and some of them are beginning to now be emboldened to one of our pastors has written a book that is talking about faith and common sense. Usually, hardly would you get a pastor drawing your attention that there's a place for faith and there's a place for common sense. And so on. You know, so they are coming. They'll do it. So we shouldn't.
Wow. It's been wonderful having you. Trust me, I've enjoyed every bit of the discussion. And please, if you are watching this, please share this and let somebody have the opportunity to watch this. And also, please like our page, T2I TV UK on Facebook, and like it on YouTube as well. Before I go, I want to mention some few sponsors. This program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy, and that is for all your business training and consulting needs for SMEs and corporate institutions. Just go to Train to Inspire Consultancy and they will sort you out. Also, ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. ALS says if you are stranded at the port, call them and they will sort you out. Also, ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. They just launched their ZPay mobile money USSD code, which is *270#. Just dial it on your phone and register for ZPay mobile money. The Wheels for Sure, your car leasing for every credit. Wheels for Sure says it doesn't matter your credit. Call them and you will drive out of the garage with a car of your choice. Wheels for Sure is based in the UK, and during COVID-19, if you are struggling to really take public transport, but you don't have a means to drive a car of your own, just speak to them. When you call them, quote T2I 2020, and they are going to give you the best of deals. Now, if you want to sponsor any of our shows, just inbox me and we will be able to talk to you as well. Mr. David Edry, it's been wonderful having you on the show, and trust me, I really appreciate every bit of your time.
Welcome, Oscar. A pleasure is mine.
Wow. I think Pastor Bernard has given a last comment. He says habits are very powerful and they form the basic principles of our lives, which creates our destiny. He also said, God bless you. Egyir, long time say. Yes. So it's been wonderful having you. God richly bless you, and everyone that has time to watch us. Please, God bless you. On Saturday, we are here for another powerful discussion. I have got a man who is a fund manager and an investment banker. He's coming to talk to us about some of the things we need to succeed in this life. You can't afford to miss it. It's going to be a powerful discussion. On Saturday, same time, 8 p.m., don't change the dial. It is going to be an amazing discussion. God richly bless everyone and see you on Saturday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.